Disapprove, but you are. You're my peace of mind, mine, mine, all mine. But you done why, oh, so I'm nice, so nice, so nice, so nice. If I catch a vibe that feels so right. When you're not around, I close my eyes and fantasize. Love sweet, so sweet, so sweet, so sweet. Every time you pass me, skin me teeth. Me and the melody and the mighty beat. Just so sweet. Do you remember every word your eyes spoke to me? The sweetest surrender. Thought that I would grow so weary, but love gets better. Now my girlfriends, they see it too. The glow on my face is because of you. You are, you're my peace of mind, mine, mine, oh, mine. Now I realize why, oh, naughty nice, so nice, so nice, so nice. Never catch a vibe that felt so right. You're not around, I close my eyes and fantasize. Naughty sweet, so sweet, so sweet, so sweet. Every time you pass me, skin me teeth. Me and the melody and the mighty beat. That's so sweet. Waiting for the right one is the hardest thing I've done. If I knew that you were right there, then I'd never write this song. Joy is yours and mine. Story of our love, so divine. Look you in the eye, the pleasure is all mine. Sing the chorus one more time. Lord, him nice, so nice, so nice, so nice. Never catch a vibe that feels so right. You're not around, I close my eyes and fantasize. Lord, him sweet, so sweet, so sweet, so sweet. Every time you pass me, skin me teeth. Me the melody and the mighty beat. That's so
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
you the only one me have to confess. You are
Welcome
the
to the
one
Blacknificent Radio Show.
all I wanna do, give my heart to you.
Welcome, welcome to the Blacknificent Radio Show here on the galaxy of Paris.net. Yes, I. Hold on, let me just cool that one out. That's it. Gotcha. Welcome, welcome to the Blacknificent Radio Show here on the galaxy of Paris.net. Oh, I just hope this buzzy thing ain't coming over onto the airway. But anyway, let's just push forward and see if it will disappear over the as the things settle down inside inside the studio. Okay. Yes, welcome once again to the Blacknificent Radio Show. Oh wow, what a strong that we've had. What a strong that we've had, eh? Right, as we do for the first 30, well, got 30 minutes left before the midday. 30 minutes. Let's unpack. Preparations for reparations. Yes, that's what we have to do now. Preparations for reparations. Oh, gosh. Preparations for reparations. That's what we have to do right now. My people. Let me tell you something. Being brought into a state of emergency. We're being brought into a state of emergency right now, right? Hmm. Knowing and unknowing what the certain future or uncertain future is going to be. It was bad enough as it is already because, there's many of us under some serious pressure right here, right now, who live in the UKKK and in the Europes as well. Right. All of them man there who could do something about it is sitting around and gathering around as they have been over the last few days. Nobody now say nothing about it though. Nobody now say nothing about it. Where's their conviction? Where's their backbone? Where's the conviction and where's their backbone? Because I know, say, if something upon your doorstep that could potentially be a danger to you, you take precautions towards that. Not true. But it looks like everybody gonna be left with the body out the door. Hmm? You're gonna be left exposed. Huh? It's gonna be, you know what? You deal with you and I will deal with me. Yeah? You will deal with you and I will deal with me. That's what's gonna. This is the type of thing that we're facing right now. This is the attitude that so many of them are literally allowing themselves to be dragged into. You know, everywhere you're looking, everywhere you're looking, people's just apprehensive about. Oh, is this gonna be a world war? Look. Let me tell you the facts. Let me tell you the facts right here, right now. Yeah. We've been under this World War thing for a long time. We've been under this World War thing for a long time. And I'm not in that, man. And I'm not in that. Right? I'm telling you. And I'm not in that. Because if if you really study what's going on, there's always a war going on somewhere or some kind of disruption, conflict, people being murdered, and executed or unalive as this trend word seems to come true, right? Because they don't want to talk the truth. Yeah. So people are just being unalived and and there's nothing that anyone's doing about it. In truth, no one is doing anything about it. Right? You got the hand claspers down upon them knee, right? You got the man them who will beat their head against the wall, wailing wall, yeah. And then you have the other one them who are cock up them but doing the prayers, they're doing their prayers, right, on a daily basis, and yet their solution is still of this Western deprived way of handling life, life life saving, it could be life saving, right? Decisions. Let's go and blow them up, blow them up, blow them up, kill them off, kill them off, kill them off, right? Oops, our accuracy is not too good. So we're killing off all the other people that we know say ain't got nothing to do with anything that we are actually say. And if everybody had a vote on this planet here today, if you had a vote on this planet here today, and we all press that button, either it's red or it's green, red to stop or green to go, right? I guarantee that the Reds would win that one this sir. Right? Red to stop, green to go. Guarantee that the Reds would want to stop this thing. Foolishness of God. Yes, sir. Right? Walking around London the other day. Walking around the London the other day. I have a Colombian. Yeah, we are come against now. Colombian, Afghanistan. Yeah, Afghanistan. Asian, as them say it. Persian, Chinese, Japanese, Turkish, Jamaican, Nigerian, Congolese, right? And that's all in one little road, right? And within 20 units. And those are just the businesses, let alone the people who are intermingling outside of that as well. So, in other words, even the way how we are eating, we you see talking about food shop now. Ah, even the way how we live, right? And we greet each other with respectful manners, right? Cultural manners. You understand? Don't let no. What are you really looking for? What are you really looking for? Huh? You see the way how we live right here in the UKKK, right? I think in essence, right? Maybe how we live in the UKKK, right, is an example of the possibility that could happen right around the world. Because even if when we're living together, everybody have their way of expression of their own faiths, right? Their beliefs, right? Some of them may be in conflict with or majorly in conflict with another person. But we don't go around saying, something, the way how you think and believe, you deserve to. Huh? You understand? So you know that these wars thing is a bit more deeper and technical. But the fact is that there's no need for this taking of life, unaliving the entirety of a whole race or community, right? You understand? Even though I'm speaking in this way, but I know for a fact yeah, that probably half the ones that I have mentioned, they wouldn't want you in them family. But they're okay. You're okay on the street when you're passing by. That's it. That's good. That's as far as you go, right? We don't want you in our family. You know? Yeah. This is how some people look on you. But let's overlook that. Let's override that now, right? Here on the Galaxy Family and here on the Blacknificent Show, right? Obviously, it's for us to deal with ourselves and how we empower ourselves in a face of object. No, not object. In the face of serious. I'm going to take it from there. Serious depraved behavior, right? And unfortunately to say, when it has been ordered by a political leader outside of your environment, you may believe, say, oh, yes, that he's right, he's right. He's right, right? I'm laughing because of the other things that I got to bring up as well, right? I'm laughing, right? Because where was I? I was watching some of the news reports earlier on. I think it was this rising as well, earlier on today. That there's farms. There are farms that are in some parts of America, right? These are agricultural farms that they are part of the main food chain in America. You know, and what's happened is that they can't get the usual people that they have to work for them, right? They can't get them to come into work. They can't get those people to come into work. Why? Why, you may ask? I will tell you. If you haven't heard already. If you haven't heard already, the reason why they can't get them to come into work, to come and do their daily work, whether it's with the cattle or just farming produce and things like this, processing and packing and everything else. The reason why they can't get them to come in is because America has a little policy that they seem to be pressing out hard now, hardcore, where they're gathering all, and I have to get this right, they're gathering all illegal, right? They're gathering all illegal people who have come into the country, into their country, as they call it, right? Into their country, and then they are working, right? Hmm. Hmm. So what they're doing is grabbing them up and saying, you know what? You are not here legally, so therefore we are going to start the process to deport you. Okay? Right? So fair is fair. If you're illegally in somewhere, obviously, if you get catch, you have to be sent back. But the fact is that there's a lot of them who don't want to get catch. They don't want to get catch. So therefore, they said, you know what? I'm not even going to go to that job anymore because the chances of me getting catch are very high because that is exactly what they did to my neighbor. It was working in the work. They were just gone to work in the morning, and by the evening they were in Mexico or wherever they come from, Nigeria, wherever they're coming from, or wherever they were in the process, and boom, gone just like that by orders of the President of America or current President of America. Anyway, so it's having its effect. It's having its effect, and you know what? Those who voted for him, well done, because that is exactly the type of thing that has happened over here in the UKKK, right? Of where the policies of change of employment and legal status, right? Legal working status has changed. It has changed. So what happens? What happens? What happens? That they are literally waiting for you to make that mistake, right? So that they can sweep you up and then you're gone, right? So your husband or wife could just be coming out to go to work in an innocent manner, and then next minute you don't hear from her. You don't hear from her, or you don't hear from him. You know, and not say that in wrong way. It's the fact that they hold you down. Now, let me just tell you something like here in London, right? You know what they're doing? Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's a certain people who work, right? They come here and they work. They do a certain levels of jobs, right? Usually 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. That's the time that you would see most of those people coming out, right? They're on the public transport. Most of those people are coming out and they're on public transport, right? And what they do when the train or the bus comes to a stand, and or the train comes to a stand, they will go in there. They go in there and they will just hold anybody that looks like they are illegal. Looks, you know. So basically, that's anybody and everybody that they feel say is illegal. Yeah, that's what they would. That's what they would do. They would just grab them up and send them off. So yeah, that's what they would do. That's right. That's what they're doing. That's what they did. And they're doing that on a regular, daily basis on the streets of London. They're doing that on a regular basis on the streets of London, raiding shops, businesses, as I said, the transport system and everything as well. Okay, so don't think that America is only happening in America, you know, right? It happens here as well. Yeah, happening here as well. So you probably only hear about it if the person get in contact with you when they reach their destination or wherever that may be, right? So be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. Any place, anytime, whatever. Okay? GalaxyForWe.net. Only telling you the truth, man. The only deep brainwashing station right here on the Galaxy of we.net. Go on, my brother. Come with something. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sick, nourished, infants cared for, age protected, as a great cross. Only a man with his condition in his heart will stand the test of time for that great war. To Zion's gate, Zion's gate. Will you be there on that great war? To Zion's gate, Zion's gate. We going up to Zion's gate. Will you be there on that great war? To Zion's gate. Some of them got no spirit, and
but they have a spiritual friend. Riding away of Rastafari around them. Mm. So they take from the good and they sow not what they should. And the results of this love, they pop and they piss off on this road. To Zion Gate, going up to Zion Gate. Will you be there on that great walk to Zion's Gate? Yeah, Zion Gate, going up to Zion Gate. Will you be there on that great walk to Zion's Gate? Ah, yeah. Only to be Rasta, only praise and joy forever and ever. I only to be Rasta, only praise and joy forever. Glory to age protected, so does the great growth. Only a man with his condition and his eye will stand the test of time for that great war. Oh, Zion, we go up to Zion. We'll be there on that great war to Zion.
Try to keep this thing.
We go up to Zion. We'll be there on that great war to Zion.
That's up. Zion's name. Oh, you see, we be blessed to have these type of things here, you know, this type of music and tunes. We told the story 1,000 times with our music that we have actually released right here, right now, here on the Galaxy of We.net. Galaxy of We.net. Lines that are open are on 074. Let me just give you this number. These are the new numbers. These are new numbers. And also we have our existing number. But let me give you the new number right now, right? Okay. So it's 074 953 95360. And then you have 0203 576 1786. All right. 0203 576 1786. Okay. Also, you have the number as well of 079 479 219. Right? This is 079 479 219. And also the old faithful number of 0203 289 6504. Right? Now, if you're outside of the UK and you want to send a message or anything like that, you can do it on the text line, which is that one there, which is, this is what you would have to put into your piece of your cell or your online or whatever, right? So this is the number that you would have to put in there, right? On plus 44 79 47 479 219. Right? So that's if you're international or out of this nation, outer national. Okay? All right. At the top of the hour, we shall be going into our midday meditation this strong. I'm going to see if I can do a little mixy thing here for you. Right.
People come together, no matter the weather. Happy and free. I couldn't wait to see ya, and for some it's supposed to be ya. Man, it's so good to see you. Wanna see you again. Summertime. To celebrate everyone together People come together, no matter the weather. Happy and free. I couldn't wait to see ya, and for some it's supposed to be ya. Man, it's so good to see you. Wanna see you again. Summertime. To celebrate everyone together It's been a few seasons, and this is the reason. Man, I missed you so much. Friends get together again. You know, didn't wait this long to see one another. Summer comes. Just wanna see you again. Summer comes. It's time to celebrate everyone together wanna see you again. Getting so celebrate, come together again. Summer comes, because summer is here.
What's
Summer is here, the rain come here. We all come together 'cause summer is here.
You know how it go. You know how that go, innit? Beautiful, beautiful sunshine that we've had over the last few days here in the London town. My gosh, it's like everybody gone mad. Anyhow, today I know that today's they're forecasting a little bit of rain and thing, right? Which is not a problem really, as long as the heat is on. I like the heat, man. I like the heat. You know, I like the heat, right? I got let me just share something with you very quickly. Usually when I go away, the heat just lick me hard. So after about 14 days, 20 days, right? My skin start to dry out, especially if I'm not in the direct sun. If I'm not in the direct sun, right? My skin would start to dry out very rapidly, you know? And then what will happen then is start to peel. yeah. So I was sitting there yesterday and I'm thinking, wow, this is nice, man. This is nice. And I was sitting there yesterday watching some movie and everything. You know when you just brush your shoulder and you brush your shoulder and this like some gritty thing I go on there. When I look on there, my shoulders was peeling. My shoulders was peeling, family. Right? I haven't had my arm skin out for years. And I say years, you know. I haven't had my skin out, you know. I run on. I ain't him, brother. Right? I haven't had my skin out for years, you know. So obviously it's gone into shock now, isn't it? It's gone into shock. So obviously you have to go through that process there and then come back again, you know. So I'm just hoping that I get another nice 3 months, you know, nice 3 months. Because remember we have the school holidays that are pending upon us. Oh, by the way, also I would like to give out my supportive how can I say this? My supportive spirit to all of those young people, right? All the young people and not so young people, right? That they are out there and they are doing their examinations right now, right? One of my neighbor's son there, he can come down the stairs and his head was like on the floor. His head was on the floor and this was on the way to the examination. So we don't know how he get through. I don't know how he get through, but you know, anyway, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. Okay? Message to all those who are doing the examinations right here, right now. It's not going to kill you. It's just an assessment of where you are right at this moment, right? You can always catch up another time and later on and everything. But obviously, it'd be great to pass it first time, right? And I'm if you talk about first time passing with the driving, It took me 3 times to pass my driving test. One of them was an argument with the instructor, but hey, that's by the by, anyhow. But all of those who out there are doing their examinations right now, all the young people out there, we give them full support in what they're doing, and your future is in your hands, right? And all of those little things that all your parents are telling you and everything else. Listen to your parents because they are living vicariously through you as well. Things that they probably never was able to do or had done. Right? They are probably living that right this time right through you. Right? And trust me, life go by very, very, very quickly. And this is the first. This is the first of it. Right? This is the first of it. So let's move into this Strong's midday meditation. Let's incorporate our youngs into this as well, because I think it's important that we share, even the things that we've been through. What? Even the things that we've been through. Lord. All I know, enjoy life, my young people, enjoy life. Be good to everybody. Let's say, just pretend you're in front of a mirror, right? Pretend you're in front of in a mirror. Whenever you meet somebody or whatever, you just pretend you're in front of a mirror, and that you are speaking to yourself in front of the mirror, and what would you like yourself to be telling you right now? And you could just let yourself go, live your life straight, live your life straight. Anyhow, it's up to you. It's up to you, right? All right, let me give you something now. Anyhow, let's go into this Strong's meditation here, midday meditation here on the Blacknificent Show on the Galaxy of We.net. See you in a little while.
Sing it slow. We need some guidance. Baby, need to learn to walk. Guidance. Trust in the Father, He guides you on your way. Guidance. In every way. People not to go astray. A good example must be shown. So each and everyone can learn. Cause things and times they get so hard, yes. And if you can find the child, little late, they've gone around. Cause the system make them drop. Backyard, yeah. We need guidance. Trust in the Father, He guides you on the way. Guide teach my people not to go astray. I used to go and rest on the car. Split my sensibility. But now the car just ain't the same. Sit down and cry, you love. It looks like they're taking over. These things come to drive the youth insane, insane. Guidance in every day. Trust in the Father to guide you on the way. Guidance in every way. It's my business not to go and stay, no. Put your hands and help me sing this song. You need some guidance. Yeah. Now every day's another wrong. And what's all this fighting from? I know they just cannot explain everything. Consider the innocent one. Those daily battles never won. He the one that they want guide me in every day. Trust in the Father to guide you on the way. Guide you in every way. Teach me it's to go astray.
Yes, you're in tune to the midday meditation. You're on the Blacknificent Show. Let's see up.
I am rich cause the sun shines to me. I never cry cause I know that the rain falls to me. I am a king and I know I was born to sing, sing, sing. I realize money's not all, there are other things. So I say do, 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 do. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 do, 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 I am rich cause the sun shines for me. And I never cry cause I know that the rain falls to me. You know, I know I was born to sing, sing, sing. I realize money's not all there are other things, yes. So I say do, 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 do. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 da. Yes, I was born to be rich. Rich in my spirit, rich in the soul, yeah, the rich. Rich, rich.
Yes, sir. The Blacknificent Radio. Here we go.
Beauty and splendor is what I remember when I'm thinking of back in those days. We played volleyball and climbed waterfalls and watch the sunset end of the day. At night we would listen to the #1 song and dance the night away. King Stitch used to mash it. You used to rock it. Big cute always up. Brigadier Jerry used to cock it.
All right then. All right then.
The beauty and splendor is what I remember when I'm thinking of back in those days. We played volleyball and climbed waterfalls and watch the sunset end of the day. At night we would listen to the #1 song and dance the night away. King Stitch used to mash it. You used to rock it. Big cute always up. Brigadier Jerry used to cock it. And everyone feeling happy. I remember the caveman on the street corner selling that sweet sugar cane. To peel it and bag it and talk to me nicely and even remember my name. That sexy mean smell I remember so well while rocking in the dance hall. Al Capone used to mock it. Deeper tone sound used to cock it. Inseparable, everyone feeling happy. Count Natuki used to mock it. To me, it always a rocket. Miss the lollipop girl, and everyone feeling happy. The beauty and splendor is what I remember when I'm thinking of back in those days. We played volleyball, climbed waterfalls, and watch a sunset end of the day. At night we would listen to the number one sound and dance the night away. King Stitch used to rock it, I used to rock it, Brigadier Jerry used to conk it, and everyone feeling irate. Terry Palmer used to rock it, Hurricane used to mock it. We're not was the rude boys, and everyone feeling irate. Delroy Wilson used to rock it, Clyde Donuts, shooby-dooby-doo. Phyllis Taylor used to light it up, and everyone feeling irate. Toots and the Beatles are bam-bam. Hooked and Louis are boom-jagalaka, and everyone feeling irate. Techniques you don't care for me at all. Melodies, a sweet sensation. Everybody feeling irate.
Got carried away with that one. We teach them and we show them so long, so many times, so many ways. We have it in our meditation, in our words of isolation.
First you told me that you love me. I said the same thing too. You told me you'd never desert me. I said the same thing to you. When I let you walk away and left me crying, I said, worrying over your night and day. My life is not at ease, I said. Where is the love we had? Where are we now? We should. to you and kept my promise. Was I feeling? Right now I have no regrets. You give your son west. This is your best.
Teaching them and showing them.
Yes. The good times we had was one pure. But now you walk on.
Yeah. Slip away.
Whoa. I need you, baby. As long as the sun shine, baby, you are on my mind all the time. All the time, girl. So don't give your love away. For I wanna take you all over the world, all over the world. All over the world. Whoa, yeah. I love you, baby. Yes. For the love I got deep inside, oh, baby, it can never ride no way. No, baby. So make me a romance, and I will let you understand. It's a feeling in me, girl. Whoa, yeah. I love you, baby. So for the love I got deep inside, oh, baby, it can never ride no way. No, baby. So make me a romance, and I will let you understand. It's a feeling in me, girl. Oh, yes. Oh, as long as the sun shine, baby, you are on my mind all the time. Yeah, all the time. So don't give your lover away. For I wanna take you all over the world, all over the world, all over the world, God. Whoa, yeah. I love you, baby. Love I've got the deep inside, oh, baby, it can never ride no way. No, baby, girl, to me a romance.
Don't keep them in the garden, you know.
harder they come, it's the harder they fall. I am until me come like the eye of the storm. I'm gonna rise, take what's rightfully mine. Now you can't stop me right, cause it's half in the time. Studio me gone, voice and your song. Now me jump on a stage, got a time for perform. All them attack, them not know what I want. Them rely for me, when me plan for me can. Because me feel proud. Hey, proud as a lion. Proud of myself when me looking at the mirror. I know every day in a life you are winner. Still me feel proud. Hey, proud as a lion. Proud even though me never riding on no bimmer. Some boy they must think me a beginner. Nothing I want on me pocket broke, but one day me I go make it out. The struggle is real, but me not lose hope. Look how long me they are hold it out. Then I know me journey, things say a joke. Them did sink me boat, man still stay afloat. Thanks God me glad when me walk this your road. Now they want see me flop, but me cup overflow. I know me feel proud. Hey, proud as a lion. Proud of myself when me looking at the mirror. I know every day in a life me a winner, but still me feel proud. Hey, proud as a lion. Proud even though me never riding on no bimmer. Some boy they must think me a beginner.
Whoa.
I like this man. Too much time. You know. Israel, man, be a shot.
We gonna walk the street of glory. Yeah. The streets of glory. Listen, we gonna walk the street of glory. Yeah. Walk the streets of glory. Babylonian gonna run and try to get there before us in glory. Yeah, the streets of glory. It's like the time in Egypt when Egypt chased after Israel through the Red Sea. The Red Sea. Yeah. Then it's like right now, them I chase after Israel to the bloody sea. The bloody sea. Whoa. We gonna walk the street of glory. Yeah, the streets of glory. And we gonna trot to the gate of Mount Zion, into the conquering lion. The streets of glory. And Tata shall come forth and mash them down with the rod of iron. We gonna walk the street of glory. Yeah. We gonna walk, yeah. We gonna walk. We gonna walk in the streets of glory. Yeah. Yeah. And we gonna trot to the gate of Mount Zion,
into the conquering light. Yeah. And we shall be taken up and be comforted into his bosom. Oh, we gonna walk the street of glory. Yeah. It's a we gonna walk the street of glory. Yeah. We gonna walk, yeah. We gonna walk in the streets, Lord. Yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa. We gonna walk, walking in the streets, yeah. Lord.
Showing them the way of peace and unity move when we walk on the streets. Be ready to be there for the first of August. This strong, yeah. Right? The 1st of August. Yeah, down there, Windward Square for the walk, for the march, for the reparations, you know? So join us down there. Join us down there.
African roots, just call me African roots. Please call me African roots. Just call me African roots. I was born and raised in the ghetto with the blood of African roots. So you can always call me African roots. Just call me African roots. Just call me African roots. Please call me African roots. Just call me African roots. We've been taken away from Africa more than 500 years ago. But one thing they didn't take is the roots out of my mind. So call me African roots. Just call me African roots. Just call me African roots. Please call me African roots. So it doesn't matter to me if they call me African roots. Here I am as an African, born and raised in the ghetto. I was born and raised in the ghetto with the blood of African roots. So you can always call me African roots. Just call me African roots. Just call me African roots. Please call me African roots. Just call me African roots.
We have, what do we have? What do we show every day? Culture. That's right.
Don't give up your culture. Oh, no, no, no. Don't give up your culture.
I have to play this one here for go to my children. You know. I say children, but yes, they're still children. Sure. No matter what age. One more on the midday meditation, then we go into some serious breakdowns, conversation.
Oh, when I turn my eyes and see the wickedness that Babylon been carrying on. Oh, when I turn my eyes and see the way that they handle the people in the streets. Fly to the hills and be at rest. Take it from me. Fly to the hills and be at rest. Oh, when I turn and look around and see people drinking dirty water like that. Oh, when I turn around and see how much food waste a government does. Fly to the hills and be at rest. Take this serious. Fly to the hills and be at rest. Na 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 na. Do 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 do. Fly to the hills and be at rest. You feel the spirit, Lord. Fly to the hills and be at rest. Oh, when I look around and see where people are not being respected. Oh, when I turn my eyes and see education is deteriorated. Now to the hills and be at rest. I want your rock and come in, yeah. Fly to the hills and be at rest.
Yes. We move into the ancestral voices, right?
I am a descendant of the Mende people who survived the transatlantic slave trade. I want to acknowledge my ancestors whose exploited labor is the basis of this nation's accelerated growth, and whose genius and creativity have left an imprint in every industry and every field. I also want us to acknowledge the indigenous people who cultivated this land that we call Nashville. People like the Cherokee, the Seneca, the Shawnee, those who were forcibly removed but who continue to live today, cultivating land and legacy beyond our years. So here at the intersection of land and labor, spoken and unspoken truths, we gather. My first name, Tama, means queen. My parents, having lived through anti-Black racism, lovingly armed me with this name, recognizing that even people who underestimate me have to honor me when they say my name. My middle name, Simone, is after the legendary singer, songwriter, activist, and truth teller, Nina Simone. And my last name, Bryant, connects me with a legacy of preachers, orators, storytellers, and griots who understand the power of the word. Understanding the power of words, I'm a psychologist who is here to talk to you today about decolonizing psychology. To colonize is to capture, to take, to control, to disconnect, to disenfranchise, to de identify. To decolonize is to reclaim, to reconnect, to honor, to recognize our interconnectedness with all living things. It is to identify with truth and live from a place of truth. A colonized psychology sees you fundamentally as a series of cognitions for us to diagnose, pathologize, control, transform, change, detect, research. A decolonized psychology recognizes that your social, political, economic environment and systems affects your mental health. So why is decolonizing psychology so important here in the States? The American Psychological Association has documented that people of color are underrepresented in the field. In fact, they have found that 4% of psychologists are Black, 4 to 5% are Asian, 5 to 10% are Latino, and 0.3% are Native American. 1% indicate that they are mixed race or other. Even though we are underrepresented in the field of psychology, we are at increased risk for stress and trauma. In fact, the FBI found last year that hate crimes were at their highest for the past 12 years. And in major cities, hate crimes were up 39 to 44% last year. And so, with the realities of racial stress and trauma, as well as other sources of stress and trauma, we need a contextualized psychology. When we take a global perspective, I'm reminded of a story that is told in Rwanda. In the aftermath of national trauma and terror, the people were brokenhearted and need healing. An elder reports that Westerners came who were mental health professionals and claimed they were going to help us heal. The elder reports they said they were going to help us feel better. They came with no songs. They came without dancers. They didn't bring any storytellers. They separated us from each other. They took us out of the sun and put us into dark rooms and told us to tell them our most painful memories. It was not healing. We had to ask them to leave. Indigenous healers around the globe often assess psychology and often assess distress with a variation of these questions. When did you lose connection with your creator? When did you stop honoring your ancestors? When did you stop singing? When did you stop dancing? When did you stop finding yourself in the gift of story? If you answer those questions, I'll have a sense of the timeline and the source of your distress. So we need to decolonize psychology. We need to shift from an over focus and overemphasis on the individual while we are neglecting systems and start to pay attention to context. Can you imagine if a psychologist thought the only reason you have an eating disorder or body image issues is because of your cognitive distortions and the dieting practices of your mother? As if we are not all bombarded with messages from the time that we can perceive that tell us how we are supposed to look and that present these narrow ideas of beauty that are based on Eurocentric, ageist, ableist ideas that often leave your beauty and mine in the margins. A decolonized psychology says that we have to honor identity, culture, heritage, history, politics, because all of those things affect our lives and our mental health. So to decolonize psychology is also to recognize that justice is therapeutic. Justice is healing. Not just taking deep breaths, not just journaling, but if we can shift some social systems, it would help a lot of us feel a lot better. So as we are looking to decolonize, we want to decolonize the intake process. We want to decolonize our interventions to be more holistic, and we want to decolonize our outcomes so that we are not just helping people to cope, but actually empowering people to be agents of change. So, to decolonize the intake process, I want to invite you to come into my office. There's a blue couch here, a blue chair there, a palm tree over there, some instruments in the corner. You get the picture. And so, I want you to sit in on this intake process with a fictionalized African American family, which we'll call the Murphys. Mr. Murphy works in corporate America and is very successful at his job. And at the end of the day, he comes home, watches TV with the door closed until late into the night. Mrs. Murphy also works during the day, comes home during the evening, is in the kitchen preparing dinner, and then in the living room by herself watching TV late until the night. The eldest child is a daughter who we'll call Charisma. Charisma is very studious, and she's in her room studying on her computer late until the night, getting all A's semester after semester. And then we have the little brother who we'll call Solomon, who claims he doesn't have any homework. So he's on his computer playing video games late into the night. So as a psychologist, I come in and we have to get the right questions so that I can formulate and have a case conceptualization, because my conceptualization of the case is going to lead to the treatment plan, and the treatment plan is going to lead to the outcomes. So the questions that I ask to frame your life help me to figure out what we are creating with our time together. So I asked Mrs. Murphy and asked the family, what is it that they've come in for? And Mrs. Murphy volunteers because she was the one who decided the family needed to come. And she said, my family is just too disconnected. Everybody's doing their own thing, and I want us to be together more as a family. A colonized psychology would hear what I just shared and say, well, we need to ask the parents about their family of origin and what were the communication styles with them. And we need to talk to them about the value of communication and quality time. We can give them a handout. You all know psychologists, we have a lot of handouts. We can give you a handout on connection. We can give you a handout about avoidance and the dangers of avoidance. We can give you a handout about too much screen time for little Solomon over there. We have lots and lots of handouts. And if I was really doing my job as a psychologist, I would give you homework, because we don't want to just sit here and talk and nothing ever changes. So this family needs to have an outing. How about bowling? And when you go bowling, leave all your devices in the car because you need to stay connected. And when you get advanced, you should start having dinner together maybe 4 to 5 times a week, because this will really be important to get the family connected. Does that sound good? It sounds pretty good, right? All of that is a colonized, cookie cutter, manualized approach to psychotherapy. And it went off the tracks because we did not ask the right questions. So if we start to go a little deeper and really begin to ask about people's experiences with discrimination, stereotype, and stigma, we'll get a different picture of this family. You'll find out that Mr. Murphy started having panic attacks when George Floyd was murdered. When George Floyd was murdered by a police officer and he was unarmed, Mr. Murphy started having nightmares where he also could not breathe. He started dreading going to work in the morning, and he would show up to corporate America being one of the few Black men who worked in his agency. And even though he was very successful, he would find himself in the middle of the day, multiple times a day, having to run to the bathroom and put water on his face because he couldn't breathe. Mrs. Murphy, you would find out, is living with the realities of Superwoman syndrome, where we are often raised to erase ourselves, to neglect ourselves in service of everyone else. And while some call it Superwoman syndrome, a lot of people in the Black community would say that's not a syndrome, that's ideal Black womanhood. You are to surrender yourself for the saving of your family, erase and neglect yourself for the uplifting of our community. Some mental health professionals would call Mrs. Murphy too intense and too serious. They might even think to themselves that she's an angry Black woman. The truth is, Mrs. Murphy is exhausted. I'm talking about soul tired, the kind of fatigue that won't be fixed by a nap or even a bowling trip. And then we have Charisma, who is very perceptive and insightful. She has picked up on the stress of her mother and the strain of her father, and realized one of the things that brings her family joy are her A's and accomplishments. And so she gets lots of them and has immersed herself in perfectionism to not only relieve their pain and distress, but also to gain for herself some visibility. Going to a predominantly white school in a predominantly white neighborhood, her Black beauty is often overlooked, denied, and ridiculed. She sees a lot of Black girl magic in social media, but she's had trouble getting hold of that magic for herself. Last school year, she would spend hours in front of the mirror trying to make herself look like the queens on TV, but she would still walk through the halls, somehow invisible. After doing that for months, she gave up on that project and decided, you don't have to acknowledge I'm beautiful, but you will have to admit I'm smart. And that satisfied her on some level, but her soul is still hungry. And then we have Solomon. No one has given Solomon words for what it feels like as a Black boy in America to constantly feel like he is under surveillance and suspicion. He doesn't have words for what it means this summer when he was walking through the mall from store to store trying to find a job and felt like people thought that he was a threat, a thug, violent, a monster, and no one would give him a chance. He does not have the words for it. He sees his father coping by drinking, and his mother copes with prayer, and his sister copes by studying, and none of those appeal to him. And so he goes into the alternative world of video games, where he can create his own character and decide how people respond to him. He can even accumulate power the longer he plays the game. And so he plays longer, but somehow the empowerment never translates to his real life. I hope as you hear this, family, you can see why a handout is insufficient on communication skills. I hope you can feel how a bowling activity is a very surface level response. But what is needed as we talk about transforming families and a decolonized approach that even incorporates their cultural traditions and arts. And so we start to sing a song I learned in Botswana. We are one family and none can separate us. None can separate us. None can separate us. We are one family and none can separate us. No, no, never. And then because we hold stress in our body and strain in our body, we even start to move and to dance in therapy, y'all. In therapy, we start to move and to dance. And do you know that when Mr. and Mrs. Murphy start dancing, their children fall out laughing because they've never seen their parents dance before? And in the midst of the poetry and the spoken word and the dance and the drama, I start to talk about the reason we need resistant strategies, not just coping strategies, but how do you protect your mind, your heart, your spirit when you are walking through toxic environments? And Charisma shares that she loves Beyonce's new song, that they can't break my soul. They can't break my soul. They can't break my soul. And as she tells that story, her mother starts to talk about when she was growing up, between learning how to cornrow hair and bake cornbread and cook collard greens, she also learned the importance of her walk. That her eldest aunt told her, all the women in this family are brilliant and foxes. So if you in this family, you got to know how to walk. And when you know how to walk, you are not invisible. And Mr. Murphy starts laughing because it was the walk that got his attention to begin with. And so in the midst of their sharing, Solomon breaks down and finally tells his family what happened this summer when he was trying to get a job and how he was treated and how he was followed around stores. And he starts to cry, and his sister hugs him, and his mother, because she is a superwoman, starts naming all of her friends who could give him a job so he doesn't need to work at that raggedy mall anyway, because anybody who doesn't see the value of her son is garbage to begin with. And so they are intervening, and I look over to my right, and Mr. Murphy on the top is cool as a cucumber, but that right leg is shaking. And he's cool, and he's watching, and his son is crying. His sister is rubbing the son's back. His wife is strategizing, and the leg is shaking. And I said, can we all just take a breath in, reaching up to the sky? And can we all just shake everything out? And when we shake it all out, the leg stops shaking. And I say, Mr. Murphy, is there something you want to say to Solomon? And somewhere between a howl and a declaration and a whisper, he looks at his son and says, Solomon, you're a king. You're a king. And his son walks over and gives him a hug, and he whispers in his ear, you are a blessing everywhere you go. And as he talks to his son, he's talking to himself. As he talks to his son, he's talking to himself. And this is why it is not okay for psychologists to treat each of us like we are identical, because we are all living culturalized, politicized, real lives. And while we know transformation takes place in protest march and in the Supreme Court, that transformation happens based on who you put in the jury box and on the school board, I want you to know transformation also takes place in the therapy room. So in the words of Tracy Chapman, don't you know we're talking about a revolution? Sounds like a whisper.
I'll talk to him.
Good afternoon, everyone.
An aristocratic.
A young boy has cancer. His skin, it's paper thin. He has no hair,
You from knowing who you are.
and his complexion is a sickly yellow. He has a lump in his stomach,
But I came to tell you that there's
and it hurts all day,
when you speak.
every day. Even his mother's loving arms
The words
cannot
you
provide him with comfort. But the young boy, whose name is Oscar, is smart and he is perceptive.
know that life,
He knows his prayers,
but
he knows there is a God, and he knows there's a heaven.
to the king
And he prays to God
you were born.
that God will end his pain,
I came to tell you.
that he can be happy again, like he used to be. And he asks God to take him into heaven. Oscar's prayers are not answered, not in that life. An immigrant from Turkey comes to the United States, to New York City, looking for new hope, a new life, a new beginning. He looks for a job. He can barely speak English, and he finds no success. Soon, whatever little money he had is gone, and he's broke, and he's living on the streets. His name is Hockey. One day, Hockey is badly and viciously beaten, and he's left for dead in a dumpster in an alley behind a pizza restaurant. He can't move, his body is broken and shattered, but he's conscious and he can hear. And Hockey hears a garbage truck and a trash compactor coming closer and closer, and he's terrified. Hockey asks God to watch over and protect his family in Turkey because he will no longer be there. And Hockey asks God to forgive him for his sins because he is contrite. And he asks God to welcome him into paradise. Hockey's prayers are not answered, not in that life. A man sits next to his wife in hospice. She's waiting to die. At one time, she was young and beautiful, always smiling, always happy, always positive, always joyful. And now she is frail and weak. Her name is Pat, She turns to her husband, John, and she says, every day I pray to God that he would give me a new chance, a second chance, a new life. And she asked John, if God grants my prayer, would you choose me once again, even knowing how things would end? If so, that would make me happy. Pat's prayers are not answered, not in that life. Now, these three little stories may seem like tragedies, ones with sad and purposeless endings. And if that's what you have concluded, well, let me tell you that you are wrong. You are completely wrong. Because as you will learn, each of these stories is actually a story of hope and strength and triumph and enduring happiness. Each of these persons, Oscar, Hockey, Pat, and John, learned that they had only one life until they had another. And they also learned that God answers prayers in his own way and in his own time. Now, what do I mean when I say that you have only one life until you have another? Well, we only have one chronological life on earth. But within that one chronological life, there are several discrete lives that we live. For example, think about how different your life was as a child from what it's like today. What was important to you? What you thought would make you happy? Who you wanted to be, where you wanted to live, and who you wanted to be in your life. Probably different then than what your life is today. Probably very different. And I want you to think about your lives as we go through this talk and the discrete things that have happened. Now, we all have one tree of life for us, but that tree has many branches, and those branches spread far and wide and in different directions. And that's a good thing, a very good thing, because our lives are not meant to be stagnant. They're meant to be dynamic. We are meant to change. We are meant to evolve. We are meant to grow. And each of those discrete lives may be very different, one life to the other, unless there is something that transcends those lives, unless there is something that gives us worth and happiness, life after life after life. And there is something that gives us that continuing happiness. And that something is the compassion, the empathy, the humanity to love others, to have others in our lives, others who we need, others who we want to share our lives with, others who make us happy. Because although we may have only one chronological life and many discrete lives within it, we all have one soul. And that soul was not meant to be alone. We were created to be with others. We were created to have others in our lives to love and make us happy. That's my belief, but my belief is also supported by the data. Let me tell you about the Harvard Happiness Project. It started in 1938, 87 years ago. It's the longest longitudinal study of what makes people happy ever. There were 724 participants when that study began. They were young people. Today, a handful of them are still alive. They're more than 100 years old. And each of those participants, decade by decade, was asked, "What makes you happy?" And they were to record the answers in a journal. What makes you happy? And of course, the answers differed as they grew and aged and evolved. And so much so that if you read the journal entries of someone who had lived a long time, you probably would conclude that you were reading about different persons' lives, not the same person's life. That's how much they changed, decade to decade. But there was one constant of continuing happiness that each of them recorded. And that one constant of happiness was sharing their lives with others. It was the constant of happiness. It led to enduring happiness. And if you have those loving relationships, you will lead longer, healthier, and happier lives. I want you to think about the life that you are living today, the lives you are living today. And of course, they're different. They're changed from what they used to be. But I am confident that if you went back and said, what makes me happy? What made me happy in my life? It will always involve others. Never alone. Never alone. It will always involve others. And that's what the Happiness Project shows. That is the way to continuing, enduring happiness, having others whom we love in our lives. We need others to give us support. We need others to make us happy. We need others to love us. For me, those others are here today in this audience. They are the answer to my question, what makes you happy? They do. And for you, maybe your others are here as well today. Maybe they're sitting beside you. Maybe they're holding your hand. Maybe they're looking at you and smiling. Or maybe they're just beside you as a companion when and if you need them. Always. I hope so. I hope that's the case. Now, let's return to those three stories from the beginning of the talk. Oscar, the young boy, did not die and go to heaven. His prayer was not answered, at least the way he wanted it to be answered. Oscar went through rounds of chemotherapy, many medical procedures, surgeries. He was in pain. He suffered. But he survived. And he survived to live a worthy life, a beautiful life. Oscar became a doctor, a pediatrician, caring for cancer-stricken children. So his prayer of going to heaven was answered in a different way, in a different life. But make no mistake, he's ticketed to go to heaven for all of his caring, for all of the love that he shows those children, for all of his care and compassion. Oscar will go to heaven in the right time. God did not answer Haki's prayer. He did not watch over and protect Haki's family in Turkey. He did not welcome Haki into paradise. Why? Because hockey did not perish in the dumpster. Right before the garbage truck and the trash compactor came, the owner of the restaurant rushed out and yelled to the driver, "Wait, I have more trash from last night. Let me put it in the dumpster." And when he lifted the lid, the owner heard a weak voice say, "Please, please help me." Well, the owner not only rescued Hockey, the owner got him medical attention and treatment. And after a long recovery, Hockey went to work in the owner's pizza restaurant. Today, Hockey owns 10 pizzerias in New York City. His entire family from Turkey works with him in those restaurants. Hockey watches over and protects them. He has many paying customers in his restaurants, but there are some who do not pay ever. They are the homeless. Hockey doesn't call them customers. He calls them his other family. And he provides them with food and with jobs. And every day, every single day, Hockey checks the dumpster before the trash compactor comes. Again, Hockey's prayers answered in a different way, but I'm confident that one day Hockey will be welcomed into paradise. And finally, there's John and Pat. Now, for those of you who have watched my first TEDx Redemption Stories, you know that I am John from that story. And you know that Pat was my wife of 45 years. She passed from pancreatic cancer. And in that day in hospice, when Pat asked me, if God gave me another life, would you choose me once again, even knowing what the end would be? This was my answer. I said, Pat, if God gave me 1,000,000 lives, I would choose you 1,000,000 times. Over and over and over again, forever. And one day, Pat, that's where we'll be, in forever. Now, some people, like Oscar, call that place heaven. And some people, like Hockey, call that place paradise. Whatever it's called, I know what it is. It's a place that will be together forever. Piece of happiness, a place of comfort, a place of joy. And it's my hope that one day, in my right time, God will allow me to be together again with her. And I hope when that happens, we'll meet Oscar and Hockey and share our stories. Thank you very much.
Listen, the goal of the enemy is to keep you from knowing who you are. But I came to tell you that there's power when you speak. So be mindful of the words you release. See, I know that life has challenged you, but the King in me came to speak to the King in you. You were born to rule, and I came to tell you Let the kings worship him today. Let the kings worship him. Come on, y'all. Let's say it one more time. You come from royalty. It's an aristocrat.
Don't be shy.
The number one goal of the enemy is to keep you from knowing who you are. But I came to tell you that there's power when you speak. So be mindful of the words you release. See, I know that life has thrown you some curves. But the ruler in me came to speak to the ruler in you. You were born to rule. And you need to know that there is a king in you. What has happened?
We can't take it, no, no. My brother and sister, we can't take it no longer. So much pain, so much pain.
Journey.
They took the simple ones and ravished your father's land. Brothers in captivity, burn their houses down and bloodstains on the wall. This ain't no humanity. Oh yeah, black man, oh man, oh man, give a helping hand to your fellow man. Won't you please? You be a better man. Black man, oh man, oh man, if only eyes would see. If only eyes would see. To what the black man lies is grown in pain and strife of the things be a bird and I see. Yeah. They raped their daughters and wives and took their husbands' lives. Took the capture of that sea. Oh yeah, black man, oh man, oh man. Here's the time that we're fighting for our liberty. This ain't no human land. Black man, oh man, oh man, all we need some more security. Yes, we need some more security. Lord, 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 yeah.
Don't think that your work is over yet, you know. Work is never over.
Black man, oh man, oh man. It's the time to be that we're fighting for our liberty. Oh yeah, this ain't no human land. Black man, oh man, oh man, all we need some more security. Yes, we need some more security.
Yes. The message is loud and clear. Man and woman, woman and men. This is what we are.
Mm-hmm.
Who we need to be. Welcome, welcome, my sister Sandra. Welcome, welcome from all the way from where are you right now?
I'm in sunny Jamaica.
Oh,
Greetings.
in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you could be. You could be anywhere. You could be up. Was it helping out old what his name again? Trump, giving to lick up the side of him head to wake him up. Hush him out, man. Then again, I think also your man there, so honest. He
Mm.
need he need to lick as well. We are not going.
Well,
Yeah,
he's doing his political posturing, so
yeah, that's it.
it
This is
is.
what. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. I'll keep jumping over. Go on. Talk a second.
It is that time of year, so you just allow them. You either
Mm,
get involved or you just allow them. So I just don't get involved and just allow them.
mm, mm.
But it's
Yeah.
all part of that political dance.
Yeah.
Who do you want as your
Leader.
partner,
Mm,
and how are you going to encourage the votes?
mm, mm.
Um,
Well, right now, it look like everybody is running scared, even those in the Holy Land, because obviously their faith isn't very strong if they're running and hiding. You know. Not that I'm saying to let the truck run you over, but I'm just saying, okay? anyway, we're gonna see what the outcome of all of that will be. Hopefully, that it won't be a long, drawn out, year long or 5 year long bombardment as what they've inflicted on others. You know, because that would be, I think, detrimental in so many other ways as well. Because obviously, you know how this capitalized system work. Because there's trouble over there, it's gonna be over here, and guess who's gonna have to pay for it? Yeah, yeah, all them foolishness there. Yeah. But I wasn't involved. It wasn't me. Anyway, anyhow, welcome, my sister. Welcome, my sister. Let's not detract too far away from what the ancestral voices was given to us. I did, repeat the one that I shared with you last strong, right?
okay, with the sister
Yeah,
speak.
mainly because I feel that is a message that needs to be reinforced again, because I know that there are many who just pass through and they hear this and hear that.
Mm.
Obviously, you can review those things on the YouTube by going onto the Blacknificent Radio Show on the YouTube, and also on the Facebook as well by putting in the same information, Blacknificent Radio Show, and also on the listings as well, because our sister who imparted that message to us, right? She has others as well, other messages on there as well, very informative and very empowering as well.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
Um, this is I'll bring that point up later on. I'll bring this point later on, because I know we were discussing and talking about this earlier on, right? Pertaining to the young people in the schools, right? So, but anyway, we'll come to that later on. It's a suggestion. A suggestion. Okay.
Okay, I didn't hear the suggestion, so
Oh, no. I saying I'm. It's a I said I'm going to come to something later on,
okay.
but I'm just saying it's a suggestion, you know.
Okay.
Anyhow, yeah. So here's us here now, right? If I generalize a statement, generalize, we're in quiet and subdued state of emergency, right? Because there's so many who are in shock, and as I'm looking around at at the um the youngsters, right? Is there another wire? As I'm looking around at the youngsters, them, right? They obviously have never experienced this state of emergency,
Okay.
right? The state of emergency obviously is this war situation, right?
Okay.
And how effective it would be, or how impactful it could be, as well. I want to see if this can come onto this thing here. Just a moment. Got wire. I'm hoping that it's going to come on. Right. So yes, it is. Right. So when I've hold on.
It's not quite right.
Yeah. When I've like spoken with some of these youngsters, I'm not the one who's really pushing the message of the war business, but it is on the lips of some of these young people,
Okay.
right? And you can see that they're kind of like traumatized within themselves,
Okay.
strengthening ourselves through we more experienced. Obviously, we know the language of the posturing and everything else, and the acts of what they're actually saying,
Mm,
and the lies and the deception as well.
mm,
And you try to reassure them that there's a lot of it that is not true,
mm,
especially now that
mm,
the information is so freely available out there,
mm.
and readily available. So, that is also there. Have you experienced anything like that with the youngs out there in the islands?
So to be fair, no.
Oh, good, good.
Mm. Partly is a generation that I'm speaking to, or having conversations with, mainly of late. They are focused on whether it be the end of term exams, but they're more focused on um, the technology they've got in their pocket, their phones, their end of term exams, their assessments. Those are the things that they're most focused on. For me, I am not, as I've mentioned before to the Blacknificent family, I'm pretty keen to be my own watchman at my gate. So there's certain information that I'm just not allowing in. But within that, those that I'm moving or listening to or having conversations with are not bringing that to me as an agenda or on the table. But they aren't speaking about it as far as I can see or as far as I can hear. The only thing that, from a conversational point of view, that I've picked up on from the media that I've been exposed to or I've
Mm,
allowed in because I've been in certain spaces is, yep, they've spoken about the posturing, but
mm,
it's more from a political point of view.
mm,
And yeah, when's the next election in Jamaica? That's
mm,
that's
mm.
the part I can see.
That's their main focus right now.
That's the current party's main
Mm,
focus. And nightly on the news, when I'm managed to hear it, or in a
mm,
space where it's been relayed, they will often talk about, it's almost like the, what do you call it? You in the West or in the UK, they have like Murray polls and stuff like that. So they've got that on a daily basis on the news station in terms of what are the voters thinking about the said parties,
mm,
how which members of the cabinet are most visible, yada, 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 yada. So there's a lot of that type of posturing that's going on. And currently they say that it's a neck and neck. It, for me, my humble opinion, it would be neck and neck because one side has the microphone and the other side doesn't. So they're constantly bombarding you. So if they ask the question, who do you know in terms of a minister, you're always going to say one side or the other because that's what is in your visual horizon on a daily basis. Very similar to, as the sister was saying in the ancestral voices, we are bombarded, and he was talking about the young boy in the family and what he did, because when he's going looking for jobs, what he's seeing and what people are seeing is what they're being bombarded with. So he effectively just takes himself away from that scenario by just going to the video games where he can create his own scenarios, he can create his own avatars, he can create his own spaces, and he's then master of, as we say, the person who tells a story is the person who's in control of the narrative, and he's in control of his own narrative. It's only when he moves out of that space that he recognizes, realizes, overstands that the control is limited to the video games.
Yeah. And we have to be aware of the environment that they're creating for themselves, right? The detach away from reality, right? I was watching another posting the other day, a few days ago, and the essence of it was that a person could, I won't say a young man, but a young person could, right, literally create their own world, right? But the fact is that unfortunately we as parents are not overseeing it as stringently as what we're supposed to be overseeing these things. You know? Like, they go and they disappear into their room, right? And like if you're engrossed in something, 3-4 hours later, right, is when they emerge. Type of thing, and you think, well, what happened in that 3 or 4 hours? Or do we even ask that question? Right? And like what was pointed out in there is that you send your child to school, right? They have all the daylight, right, with the child, and then in the evening is when they come home. And it's for those, and it was emphasized as well, for those parents who are privileged enough to be there for when their child does come home and being able to spend the time with them, right? Are we actually making the quality time better than what they're experiencing within school, right? Or are we literally allowing the entertainment gadgets and everything to raise your child? Yeah. Are you taking that personal time and space to engage and have a quality time with your child? You know, emphasize again, pointing out again, because of we got the summer holidays coming up now, right? And I did give a shout out to all of those who are going through their examination period at this time, right? The worried looks on their faces as they trundle off into the school and examination rooms and everything else, right? But to just relax and enjoy the process, right? And just do your best or do what you can, right? And then come out the end of it and go and enjoy yourself because you're still a young person
Mm.
until those results come through.
Mm. You'll be a young person when the results come through, and there's that realization that the results are not the be all and end all.
That's it. That's
It's
it.
part of the journey, and unless they choose to or say they are going to
Mm,
check out of life,
mm.
they've still got another, at the current reckoning, they've still got at least another 70 years.
Yeah. Oh well. Oh, 70 years. Oh, so long. Trust me, it's not long. It's not long.
See things come and go in that time, but it's not, it appears like one of those big numbers. But
Mm.
do we consider, I was thinking, do we consider money and finance in the same way? When we look at the numbers and think, oh, it's big, so there's no point going for it.
If you're not related to it, if you're not related to it or attached to it in any way,
Mm,
right? Then I would say no,
mm,
right? Right? Because like I will speak from my experience, right? My mother has always been a frugal person,
mm,
mainly because the wealth was not really in, let's say, it wasn't something that was a goal.
mm,
Yeah. Um. So in that way, there was no real conversation of, oh, you should do this, or or invest there and all this type of thing there.
mm,
Um, if anything associated with money, I think my teaching that she would give to me, taken from the Bible or the Bible,
mm,
right, was don't store up your riches on earth because you can't take it to heaven,
mm,
right?
mm,
And then coupled with that, to say the end of the system is going to come very any day now.
mm,
So why am I going to try?
mm, mm,
You
mm,
understand?
mm,
Right? So it was a I had a for a very long time detachment, and in all honesty, right? I know I keep saying it, and it is an actual fact that my my journey financially has always been, I've always had enough for what I needed.
mm, mm,
Yeah, or
mm,
probably no, if I'm going to be totally honest, more than enough.
mm, mm,
Right? So in that way, there, it's never been a panic station for me, or on us, and or associate myself with, wow, look how much I've got, and da 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 da, whatever, and all this type of thing. So
mm.
y- yeah, yeah. So as long as the steak is well done, I'm okay. Yeah.
And what you've said there is
Mm,
part of the abundance is having that mindset in terms of, there's an echo. Part of the abundance is having the mindset that what enough looks like, and being comfortable with having enough. And then
mm,
once you've had more than enough, then the
mm.
question is, what do you do with the overflow?
Yeah,
Be,
yeah.
being in that mindset in the first instance.
Because I find recently that like, every little advert and everything is money, 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 like big figures money type of thing. And I think to myself, wow, I've just, you know the way how they're saying is that, oh, everybody can get this and everything like this, and that is not the case
I
in many
disagree with that.
cases.
I disagree with that. I think that we can all access it. I think we can all have it. The question is, what's our mindset that's stopping us? And
Mm,
the process is that
mm,
we are socialized to think you can have it over there, but I can't have it over here. Why can't
yes,
we all have it?
yes, yes, yes.
When we look at the trees and we look at the vegetation and we look at nature, everything in nature strives for it. I don't say I'm not going to have it because you're bigger than me. I'm looking at a tomato plant, and when I was away, that was the only tomato plant that strived in all of the bush and everything like that. That plant is no longer able to strive because it done what it needed to do. The others are coming up around it now, aiming for the same heights. But we always limit ourselves. Part of it, like I said, is our socialization. Part of it is the conversations that we have. But what we do with our young children is that we limit them in the same way, whereby they think that 70 years is a long time, or 50 years, or 40 years, or 30 years is a long time. So they don't make the right preparations to live within those 40 years, those 30 years, those 50 years, because they live for the now. That's okay living for the now, but you've got to work your mindset. You've got to have an idea in terms of a plan. You've got to know where you're going, even in the now, because you can't jump in any car, you can't jump in any vehicle and just arrive without having a destination mapped out. Life is like that. And life doesn't have to be the destination that someone else has dictated. Life can be your own plan and or destination. So when the young people are in their rooms or in their space looking at that technology, why don't we encourage them to look beyond the technology? Can they then develop the apps? Can they then develop the within that space so that they can then expand their mind, but also other people's minds who are looking at that same technology? Encourage them, mentor them. I know that within the ancestral voices, the young lady, the sister, was saying the way that we do the couch situation for the family doesn't work with, it only works with some societies, and we need to find the magic pill. Morning. We need to find our rhythm and our vocation within that. That's what we need to encourage the young people to find their rhythm and their vocation, because the way that we're doing it at the moment, we're stifling them and we're limiting them, and they start to believe the narrative. They don't have to start to believe that narrative. As parents, as guardians, as elders, give them the opportunity to be the best person they can within the with all the opportunities that they have available to them.
As you're saying that there's many categories I could put myself into, right? Even now. One of the things that I know, right, is never too late, right? Because who's to determine that I ain't got another 40 years, right? And over that 40 years, things has to maintain and progress, right? And in that period, I could easily attain a level of financial wealth, right? That could be which could be a lot more easier for me to live on than what I'm doing right now, right? But and in the same point though, right? There are those who would say, "Well, I'm too old now," like they know the time when their time is going to be up. Now, this is one of the lessons, even from one of my uh, books of study. Right, we have to start and put our minds into generational.
Yep.
Right, so
Yep.
don't stop being selfish. Right, you're not the only one. Right, even if your children are not speaking to you, but they need an existence as well. Right, and then whoever, whatever comes behind them, they need an existence as well. So even if your parents never left you nothing, as I think that's the cry of some of them people out there, right? that don't let that be the same thing you're going to hand over to somebody else as well,
Mm,
right? So
mm.
yeah, that's very important as well, you
But
know.
you can only do that when you've got that mindset shift. So that's where the encouragement comes in
Mm,
terms of having those conversations with the young people, with the children, with the young adults, because effectively they should be walking on the shoulders of those who were before them.
mm,
Um, but we don't always think that we have that gift, that opportunity. And it is a gift because our parents will have seen certain things in their life that we may or may not been able to um, capture, interact with. So then the question is, what are we doing as young people for in our consciousness? What are we doing? How are we interacting with others? What conversations are we having? And there are so many opportunities out there for our
mm.
young people. But if we're not having those conversations with them, they will lock themselves in a room and just play a video game and
Yeah,
go
yeah.
into that imaginary world.
Mm,
And books used to be part of, and I was speaking to a brother in the last 10 days, and he was saying that books was his imaginary world. He'd read the dictionary, he would read everything. His parent, one was a teacher, the other one was a nurse, I believe, but they were both avid readers. So he remembers
mm,
coming home from school and his father having a newspaper and going through the newspaper and reading the newspaper and stuff like that. So books used to be the thing that in my generation you used to use in order to escape from where you were at, and your imagination would be able to be jump from character
mm,
to place, etc., etc. Now the young people are using the videos, so you're using a different sense in order to achieve the same thing. What I would just encourage is that you don't leave it down to the person who creates the video
mm,
or that series of videos, because the thing about the books is that for those of us who are avid readers, we wouldn't only read one book over and over and over again. We would read it over and over again, but we'd stagger it. But we would then also look at other books,
yeah,
other material.
mm,
We would do a compare and contrast. Oh, I picked this up, but I don't like it. Oh, I picked this up and I'm not ready for it now. And you put it down. So you look at your bookshelf and you think to yourself, okay, I've read that, I've read that, I've read that. Oh, I've not read that. Let me go back to it.
mm,
It'd be a different conversation you'd have in your head. Like I said, what we need to encourage our young people to do is not to get so wrapped up in the imagination of that one computer game, that one computer story, um, but to expand to think, hang on a minute, I can either A, make money of it because I'm really good, and some of our young people are really good, and or think about, okay, well, if someone else can do that, why can't I?
mm, mm.
What is it
There-
behind?
there's been many a time, right, that obviously we've grown up in that period of where um, books, books, reading, reading tangible books, right, was the main thing.
Mm,
Obviously, now things are different. That even my daughter come to me and say, "Why you got all these books around here? You can get it online, don't you know that?" And
mm,
all that type of thing there. And I think, well, look, you know what? It's like having cash and then tapping.
mm,
I
mm,
mean,
mm,
it's I like to have my hands on something, and this
mm,
is how I like to do it.
mm,
You know,
mm,
but obviously, that is of our generation and our time was when we were growing up and everything
mm,
else. This is the thing that I'm trying to emphasize through this program here today, right? Spending that quality time with your child to ensure that they are receiving the right guidance into their future. Now, we have the time, like for instance, they'll be on holiday now,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Even if you map it out, make note of what you want to teach them that week. You're there with your partner, your husband, your wife, right? Discuss it amongst yourselves that this is what we have to try and teach them this week, right? Or to give them a task, you know? And even to say, okay, then let's see where they're gonna guide us and how they would solve this problem, right? And even if it is, oh, I'll go online and ask Siri or Genie or Gigi or something like this now, right? Whichever search engine it is, right? But making sure that they're using it in the correct way, right? This this these are the things that most of our children, and we know how easily distracted our children can be, right? And curious as well, right? And and guess what? Those search engines will drag you down a line that you don't want to even go down, right? So just to ensure that they're using it in a safe manner, right? And obviously pointing out to them the rights and the wrongs, what is being shown to them as
Mm.
well,
Mm.
right? You
Mm.
know, all these false websites and things like this. Oh, you can get this, and it'd be quicker for you to do it. And why would you want to be doing all of that hard work? You know,
Mm.
meanwhile, you can just do this, right?
Mm. Mm.
Right? It will
Mm.
only cost you $1.99 and all this type of thing.
Mm.
And,
Mm.
it's these are the things that we have to take responsibility for.
Mm.
And when I say take responsibility, I'm not lambasting you. I'm not lambasting you. It's awareness of what is happening out there. Not only with um, with like the teaching, right?
Mm.
In
Mm.
life in general, right? Because you know what? It's the worst thing that somebody's out there and they don't have no sense.
Mm. Mm.
You
Mm.
understand?
Mm.
I was watching another posting the other day, 3 days ago. I'm not too sure if you come across this already, but there's a woman and the school children. They were on a bus. It was in Jamaica,
Mm.
right? And they were having an argument,
Mm.
right? And the argument got to such a state that this woman pulled a knife on the children. Them.
Mm. Mm.
Now I don't know if she harmed any of the children, although it was said that she had cut a few of them, but not in a dangerous way. But she cut them and everything. Right? But the fact that this woman, right, felt that she was probably threatened enough to want to go pull out a knife
Mm.
at them, because if it wasn't a knife, it could have been a gun,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And obviously, for her to feel that it's right for her to use that thing in them ways, right? That is one of those things that it was kind of like a wow, because you know how if something like that happened over here now, right, in like the UKK, right, say that there would be some serious implications on there,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Now, this is the thing. Even as children, right, to honor other people that you're around,
Mm.
right? And I'm not saying that we are perfect, but we can. Oh, no, what's that?
So just whilst you're sorting out that, no, I didn't see that report. There every now and again there are things, and I didn't even hear it on the radio, on the news, and I've been around
Mm.
people recently whereby they always listen to the news, and I didn't catch up on it. But for me, that's just, is it a state of where we're at? No.
No.
It obviously makes good journalism. So for me, it's a case, it's a thought process. What's in that woman's mind where she's walking with a knife?
Not right. Right there you go. There you go.
And I don't know what her age group is.
On children.
And she's pulling it on children. So that means what kind of household? What was her level of communication that she didn't feel that she could communicate with those young people without needing to do that? So yeah, it's
okay.
It's not a nice thought.
Yeah. Right, I've got our critical thinker. Can you call back? Please? I was wondering what that sound was. It's the phone. It's the phone. Could you call back, please?
Okay.
So, let me just see if I could get it on there. Right. We're going. Right. Hold on. Let me see. I'm hoping I've got it on here. Okay. Back on here. Okay. Right. Hopefully that you've joined us this afternoon.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear Sister Sandra?
Yep, I can hear perfectly. Thank you.
Okay,
great.
good.
We all linked up. We all linked up. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. Yes.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I know you're talking about a subject here, but can I change the subject? If not, I'll call back on a bit later.
Yeah. All right, then bring your subject. Let me hear what you got to say.
Okay, it's just a brief question. Yeah, have you heard about the carnival needing funding for this year?
Yes. I've skirted around it, to be honest.
Okay.
Right, because I was going to get confirmation this evening from one of the main performers down there. To what state that is really, because I you know what it is. I don't like to really comment too heavily on there unless I know the full facts of it.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I called you up to find out if you know more than what I know, because I don't really know much about the situation. It's just brief that they're looking for funding for this year. But by my look at input, if it is true, this has just been a long ongoing sabotage, and it's like they keep on chipping at the bridge, and just waiting for the bridge to collapse.
Obviously, come on now. Look at what the potential of that is, though, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you probably be thinking the same thing like me, right? That the amount of wealth that generates for that borough and for London in itself, right?
Yeah.
Right, transportation and all the other logistics around
hotels, airplanes,
right?
You name it, buses, trains, you name it, man.
That's right. So
look, even the clothing shops, people want to buy new clothes to go down there.
Everything else, right? And obviously the logistics of setting it up. What other like the vendors, they actually fork out for setting it up as well, right? So to
cut you, but I just really feel that somehow there's been internal mismanagement, because even the prices for each stall, it's just
ridiculous.
It's not even stupid. It's just wicked.
Yeah. Obviously,
it's not right anymore.
Obviously, what they're trying to do is capitalize on it. I feel what their main intention was when they first put the prices up on it, because they were charging people to have something outside their own homes over there, right? And what I feel they did that for, right, was to scare people away from actually putting out anything and capitalizing on it for themselves. Right.
Yeah.
And then what they would do is bring in the corporate people, right?
External people.
And then they would just reap all the money that would be spent in the area, which I've seen happen in when I was visiting Brazil, right? Everywhere there is a brand. There's only about 3 or 4 brands at their carnivals anyhow, but you know, speaking under my breath, but not so much. It's a mafia thing over there.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Right? Even for the people who are in the parade and everything, it's all a mafia thing. You understand? Right? So and like, you know, they do it like a round table. Like, you know, all right, then this year you're gonna win, this year you will win, and all this type of thing there.
Well,
But,
you see something. That's why it just proves once again, because I was chatting to her about it yesterday about Africa, and we was talking about Iran and Trump swearing live on TV in front of. I never heard a president swear in my life, you know.
He's got
But
no
anyway,
manners anyhow.
that's a different subject. But I was chatting to her about it yesterday about Africa, and we were saying that the unity, if they only unified, and it shows you even with the carnival, if say even 1 year, they say, all right, you're putting up the food prices, for the stalls, and you have a little union, the carnival union, outside away from the board, and the board meets the union, and the union is the go between from the people to the board, and then you say to them, all right, we're not coming this year. All the stalls and all the sound systems just have a 1 year strike. Just a 1 year strike. Because even the police here, even though all right, they are giving their time and the experience to as security, but on the other half they're causing a lot of the congestion as well, because you're barricading certain roads. Blocking off certain roads, so people are. I saw a clip last year. I haven't been there for years, but I saw a clip last year, and the people are so like squashed. And imagine you're there. Imagine yourself now, a young man, and the lady as well, who was on the station. You're at the carnival. You're drinking. You're smoking. It's the heat is hot, and people's all over you. You know, it's gonna cause aggravation, man. Especially if you got two and two man who's got drink inside them. You budge them, they budge you. It kicks off. Why are you pushing people so close together? Why are you doing that? So there should be even, that's what I said, there should be even cases put towards say, look, you are sabotaging the whole event, you know, and making it look bad, and it's less likely that people are gonna sponsor certain floats and gonna sponsor certain, you know what I mean? So they're the cause of this. They're causing this, but there's nobody to put forward this type of case.
The thing is that they will squeeze until something happen, and then they say, "Oh, it's the people what's attending." Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then that would give them a case to ban it completely, or to control it in the manner that they wish to control it.
Yeah. What they want to put in the park, innit? They want to put in the park.
That's been suggested. That's been suggested already.
Like a circus clown inside of a park.
Well.
I'm curious in terms. I'm jumping in here. Something that you said, because I know historically I've heard over years. I don't know about in terms of this current year, that from a monetary point of view, things are changing. I've heard over the years that they wanted to put it in the park back in almost 20 years ago, Hyde Park, and it just didn't happen. So then they done the corralling to make it feel like a park, because you can only walk one way up this road and you can't go across the side to the other side of the pavement. So there's a lot of things that they've done from a restrictions point of view, but if you allow someone else from a corporate point of view in order to be the greater sponsor, they have to dance to their tune. But one thing that you've just said, brother, which I smiled at, and I thought, what if we did boycott? What if some of those sound systems and some of those did boycott?
That's why I'm saying I'm waiting until later on, then I can give you a definitive point of view on this, you know, because even for that, to just say no, I'm not going, you know, but what I wish it would do, in all honesty, right? If there was a mass boycott of it by those, like the sound systems and everything else, right?
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah.
That
Because check this out, like, it's just like what 2-3 days, yeah, and it's the whole event, not just for rich people, yeah. It's meant to be all type of people, and when you bring your family down there, a meal's gonna be what, like £10-15. So you already got, if you got a family of like say that 2 adults, 2 children, that's what £60 already.
Yeah. Oh
And
no, it's a big money expenditure. You know, just as I say, the logistics of just going down there and everything, traveling and things like this, right? Is a big logistics start to do this type of thing, right?
And again, yeah, when you look at it, what as if you call us a culture, yeah, as a nation, what else do we have? What else do we have nationally in this country where we can build what we can build off? I was at Aldrich yesterday, so Aldgate, about Whitechapel. Yeah, and sometimes when I look at these other people and I say, you can't hate them. Can't hate them. I see from young people to even some old men pushing these big iron trolleys. Some old men, big old grey-haired men, like in their late 60s, early 70s, pushing, still working, and they're all a little community like a bunch of ants. And I'm not disrespecting them by calling them ants, because they're ants unified, you know. And they're just a bunch of ants. Everyone knows their place.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't want to be critical of my people or criticizing my people, but somehow, you know what I mean? This, I don't know. We're not working as ants. We're not working as ants, man. And like I said, if there was some type of union organized, then you could set up some type of policies and say this can't keep on happening. It's like everything we have, we just you just take everything. You know, how can I was telling a brother yesterday, how can you have a plate of food, yeah, and all other cultures have got their hand in that in our plate? Every culture has their plate of food, yeah. We have our, and everybody, all other cultures have their hands in our plate. Okay. When you go down to Carnival, yeah, a lot of Asian people have their off licenses, you know, and you got Tesco's down, you got Sainsbury's down, so they're making money. The hotels, we don't own the hotels. The bus industry, we don't own them. We don't have no coaches, you know.
I would say that even my visit last year, because I go down there fairly regularly, right?
Okay.
And my observation of the difference over the last like 5 years, merchandising, right? A lot of the sound systems now, right, have merchandise.
Okay.
Whether it's a T-shirt, sweatshirt, records, or whatever.
That's good though. I think that's good.
And you
know, at what cost?
Huh?
At what cost?
Of course, it's going to be premium price, isn't it?
Well, they in order to get the merchandise, they're going to need to do the advertising. They're going to need someone in order to sponsor them.
Yeah. Right. So like even as you go up to around the sound system, them or whatever, right? They're looking like 30, sometimes £40 for a top and all them things there, you know. So I just think, wow, look at this. And the thing is that I know, and I do this comparison because of like what I experienced in Brazil, right? They would literally be throwing out like hats and T-shirts and all this type of thing there, out in there in the crowd and everything, you know. And I think to myself, well, boy, look, it's either you pay one end of it or you pay the other end. But remember, most of the ones that we have here in England is all independent, right? It's all independent, and just like the food stalls, they have to pay as well.
Yeah, to be there.
To be there as well.
Have that space. Yeah.
Right. So obviously they're relying on their notoriety from that to counteract all the other bookings that they may get, you know, throughout the year.
So check this out. If that is true what you're saying, yeah, because it is true, yeah. why isn't a percentage of that money that people are paying into the carnival, where is it going? What is all the management just paying themselves a big fat wage and there's no money left for next year?
Right.
Is that what's happening?
Part of it is going right. You
Police
know that old adage of it's filtering through, right? It's filtering through. You don't just pay straight to the carnival people, them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's paid usually to the local borough,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then that is filtered that back into the expenditure for the administration and everything else to the carnival.
No,
Right?
the book should be open to the public.
Oh yeah, I think the records are. I think the records are.
Okay.
I think they are.
So this is what I'm saying. Like the stuff like this, yeah, even because it's not just down to your station.
Mm.
It's not just down to your station.
No.
If they meaning stations out there call themselves community radio stations, they should be having whether they're 24/7 music, they should have at least a slot which is where it's most popular to have this discussion because it affects them. It affects them.
Yeah.
It affects them more than a station that has mostly talk. So if they're not concerned, then because I don't business because I ain't been in there for years. You know what I'm saying? I've been there for years,
which is a shame, really. It's a shame because the thing is that it's out of where it started from, right? As a celebration, or I say or recognition of what was the atrocities at the time, right?
Yes.
And then to what it was like let's just have a day, bank holiday, of where we can just have a street party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
bring the children down there, the teenagers down there to have fun,
right.
not for it to be like a big time money thing.
No,
it was never meant to be a money thing.
It was literally that sister that came out of her home and says, I'm gonna have a street party, right? And invited the neighbors, and it just started from there. You understand? So in that way there, and as I was going to say earlier on, if they do end up disbanding the carnival in the form that it is now, I'm hoping, right, that we would take this into a national thing, right, so that all the sound systems then will play in their local area, and we will just travel to them. We'll travel to them around in their local area. You understand? Right?
So just to make it more smaller.
Well,
so each borough just have their own little thing.
It will bring the local people into it, and it probably be even bigger.
That would make more sense, because if the madness happens where masses of people are congregated here, then space it out in different boroughs.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Right, because
they're already they're sabotaging the thing by clustering people like cow in a pen, pig in a pen, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. You can't party like that.
Exactly.
Outdoor party. How can outdoor party be congested?
Well,
you know this. You know what I mean? It's a street party.
All I know that there's when they have their entrance points, right? The entrance points to the carnival area, right? It would take you a good like 40 minutes sometimes to get through, because of the amount of people who squeeze up into this one at a time foolishness.
That's mad. That's mad. Anyway, that's what I don't want to take up the whole show. That's what I want to call up to mention.
Yes, Sister Sandra.
I've not been sporadically over the years. At the early stages, I remember going to carnival and coming back and just having a really good time, just having that freedom and just being able to walk from, like I said, one side of the road to the other, up a lane, down a lane, listen to a sound, let me check out. So I remember those as really good, fun times. Those are memories that are etched on my brain. Obviously, I've only gone to carnival infrequently, and having that frustration of just being penned in. So I was at one point going to the Birmingham Carnival and or the Leeds Carnival, because that gave you more of the Leeds Carnival gave you more of a atmosphere to how London used to be. Birmingham very quickly found the park, and they were crowd very quickly into the park, and it became a park thing. Before even London had realized that, let's see if we can convince them and tell the people then that going into a park is going to be the best thing for their carnival. So Birmingham were already there. But in terms of just for what it is, recognize where it started from, and recognizing then that generation has lost control. The younger generation and the current generation are looking at it, monetizing it. Yes, it can be monetized, but at what cost? Are we missing out on the message? We often talk about message in the music, and I know Culture Mark will often talk about that. Brother Aston, when he's playing Ancestral Voices and his midday meditation, there's a message in the music. We're missing out on the message in that event and why it was and has become what it is. And once we as individuals, individually or collectively, allow others to control our narrative, and they are, then we lose control of what we want, and we lose control of the message.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna put on the phone. Yeah.
All right then. Thank you for your
contribution. Good show though.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Yes, this is just one of the things down there. I have to get used to that new sound, because we changed the phone system over here, and I'm thinking, what was that sound? What's that sound? and then I just that's what it was. Yeah, I have to get used to that new sound for the phone line. And yeah, let me just give out the number again, right? Right. The same number of 0203-289-6504, right? Also 074-953-95360, right? And also 0203-5761 786, right? One of the messages that I did receive as well, that they were looking for the name of the video that was played, or the clip that we played in the Ancestral Voices. It says why we need to decolonize psychologically, right? And that's by Thema Bryant, right? That's Thema Bryant, right? Why we need to decolonize psychologically, right? So you can get that on the YouTube on there, right? So yes, that's available for everybody out there. Yes, and give her give her a thumbs up, or whatever they do on there, right? And also, if you want to go directly to it, you can go into the listing on Blacknificent Ancestral Voices 2025 as well. So it's within that collection there, which are some of the past uh, clips on there have been put in there as well. So you can review them and see them and watch them over again and again, and take notes, and then come back to me and tell me, me do this and do that and everything else, and stop me in the street while I'm out shopping and I want to have some big conversation.
Sounds like you're speaking from a real life experience, but
yes.
For me that sounds beautiful, because that means our Blacknificent family may not necessarily be phoning in and or dialing in, but they have an opinion and they want to share the opinion, and they want to voice their opinion. And we're always up for listening to the conversation. We may be walking fast, we may have our two heavy bags in our hand, we may be heading off to somewhere, but when you do get an opportunity, let's sit down and let's have a reason. Let's converse, because part of what Brother Aston and I bring to this is our communication conversations with you, our Blacknificent family, when we're out and about, our shared experiences of when we're out and about, and what we don't want to do. We don't want to silence you, because exactly the same as the brother said, I've got something, is it okay if I bring it to the table?
Well,
nothing that's not off the table. Let's have a discussion. It may be a short one, it may be a long one, but let's have a discussion.
Yeah. And as
to have a discussion.
And as I emphasize as well, is that we here on the Blacknificent show is using this space so that we can develop our diction and how we actually can speak openly about all the subjects that we are facing even right now. Yeah. Right. So we can have this open discourse in the manner of which we would love to do this as well. And even if you have 2 words and they twist and turn, we straighten you out. We're coming straighten you out. Come on now.
Well, not necessarily straighten you out, because hey, your logic and your reasoning may be sound. So just going back, something that you had been spoken and said previously, in terms of, I saw Brother Les shared a clip of where he was, I think it was at the Windrush, one of the Windrush celebrations, and he was talking on the mic, Professor Les, I should say, give him his title and his dues. Professor Les was speaking, and speaking a lyric that he had written so many years ago, which sometimes we don't always know what we're saying and the impact of what we're saying and how it will hit others. So going back in terms of you getting stopped, stop him, because what we've said today has had an impact on you. It's allowed you to think, it's allowed you to question, overstand, recognize, require greater clarity. So stop him. I give you that permission. Stop him.
Stop him. Hold him down.
Yes. He's not charging you, so to stop him. Stop. When he starts charging you, then you stop him again. At the moment, he's not charging.
Get your money's worth.
Yeah. Okay. Rinse and repeat. Make sure you get your change worth.
Oh boy. Look like you put an extra hour on my shopping time now.
Well, I was listening to something yesterday, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. They were talking about an app. So, and they said part of the app is that you can speak with others. And in speaking with others, you can start to monetize it. So you can, through that app, speak to the Oprah Winfreys of this world and the Brad Pitt and yada yada.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
In order to speak with them, you will need to effectively pay a fee, and that fee they will then donate it to their said charity or good cause or whatever. They will say, "Yep, it's not necessarily coming into my pocket, but they will tell you where to send it." And we don't always take the opportunity to speak to or speak amongst each other. So that's why I say, if you see Brother Aston and he's not charging, stop him and have that conversation.
Yeah, but you give me a good idea now.
some of the times when we're speaking, some of the thoughts that you have, again, as the brother was saying, he didn't know whether or not we'd heard of it, and in terms of the carnival, and you said that you're doing your research, but sometimes we haven't heard. It's not on our radar. and it's just useful as a community that we can't be all things to all people and be across all the various points of media. But there are things that we need to be aware of. So if you're aware of it, stop Brother Aston.
I mean, like there's a lot of things that like that. You know what's ticking in my head right now? We got the reparations march coming up.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah.
Now, even the logistics of doing that, right? It's a thing of that. Wow. Even the logistics of doing that, right? We have to realize, right, that finance comes from somewhere, and it's usually from our pockets, right? From our pockets and organizations that are donating to that. Now, I have mentioned it a few times before, but if we can source where the organizers and to how to donate to these things, and it's not, and we're not talking about like, wow, you got to put in £500 or anything like that. Even like a £5 or a £10, right? And imagine now if there's 1,000 of you out there and you're marching and you've all put in like your £5s or £10, as well, right? That's a good amount of money there, right? That can be used to actually alleviate a lot of the pressure of a lot of people that are there to support this event. You know, similar, I would say, or similar with the carnival, right? Similar with the carnival, right? You know, if it comes to it, would you literally pay? Because I know that again, I know I do this reference, right? It's not everywhere in Brazil is a street party, right? They have their purpose built stadiums to actually have their parade in as well. So and you're talking big monies for those things there, right? You're talking big monies as well to go to those places.
Come in there, brother Aston.
Greetings, brother Ade.
Yeah, how are you? How's you and the lady with you there?
She's doing fine. She's in the sunshine, guaranteed sunshine. I'm in the maybe possibly if you stand in the right place, sunshine.
Yeah, well, England. Good to hear that. Good to hear that. Yeah, just to concur with what she just said there, in a little way. But you see, a lot of speakers, they try to get started with money. Not all of them necessarily donate to charity. Look at it, especially with the public figures. Like, for example, somebody like Barack Obama, he's probably got more money than he had when he was so-called president of the United States.
Yes.
And so on. And George Bush and all these people, Clinton, they charge thousands of pounds, 70,000 Boris, what's his name? The former Prime Minister, Boris
Johnson.
What's his name again?
Boris Johnson.
Boris
Johnson.
That's it. Boris Johnson. Yeah. He's doing well after dinner speech. Yeah, all the big corporation employs him to, give him some of them for 2 hours speech could make up to 100 grand.
Yeah, but the thing is, let's break this down. The reason why he gets paid those things to do after dinner speeches and things like this is that he is posturing again to the attendees of that. Those attendees are business executives and everything
exactly.
else. So therefore, within that network of where they're paying him to come and speak there, at the same time, they will put in their request for certain things to be mentioned at government level.
Exactly, that suits their narrative. Of course.
Exactly. So therefore, that is how that game is played, right? Yeah. The fact is
quickly touching on carnival. I'm not a deal of anything to do with masquerading or festivity. It's not. I don't think you're supposed to be charging member of the public or such. You know, so hence I agree with you about the sound system. You know, that is better. I mean, if you look at Northwest London, apart from South London, you got Java sound system, you got Orca International.
Exactly.
You know, so I mean, you got Fat Man in, you know, Brixton. You did that. You know, so I think the way you say it could be a way to go forward. Yes.
Yeah, and make it a national thing. Make it a national thing. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, I mean, you got Birmingham, you got sound system called Quaker City. They come down to London and play at the Carnival. In fact, the last time I was at the Carnival, they were there in St. Luke's Road. This was in 1982. That was when Carnival was Carnival. The whole essence of it today is, I'm afraid, is completely gone.
No. The only thing I go down there for is the sound system, because even if I try to look at the parade, right, it's very pitiful. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because the fact is that the expenditure of putting on one of those floats, right, and then for costumes and everything else, I don't see that anyone's doing it. I don't see anyone's doing it, although it is there, but it's very pitiful, very pitiful.
You know, I feel that the black community kind of slept a little bit, because it should be under our jurisdiction. It should be under our control, as you said. You know, hence the money don't necessarily, as you said, pay the local borough. Another don't think as rich as not in the world is Kensington and Chelsea. You know, that's the hospital, the Carnival. They're rich enough. It should be free. The rates should go to the black communities. You know, if you look at the Kensington, it's one of the richest boroughs in London. You know, so I mean, it's all about greed. You know, so the festival itself, the festivity of masquerading, is to have a nice time. You know, it's not that we're charging things. In fact, everything, the concept of it is to have freeness. But of course, these days, nothing is free. You know,
and the thing for me though is that I would prefer, as I say, I would prefer even the build up to it, right? Although we have like the panorama and everything else. And why is it not televised? You got the biggest carnival in Europe, the biggest carnival in Europe, right? And it's not televised. That's always been a fathom to me. Why is this not thing televised? You know, right? And I thought, wow, this is embarrassing in by itself. You know what I mean?
But we probably don't even know, because some of the Americans network probably televise it in America.
They do.
I believe they will be doing that, Brother Aston.
They do.
But then
they televise.
If something like CNN, again, they have to play the black communities.
They televise Mardi Gras. They televise the Trinidad Carnival.
And the Rio one.
And the Rio. Right? You know what I mean? So why not this? Why not the biggest one here? You know? Which is to me, I don't know why they don't. I don't know why they don't. Right? All they're looking for is news reports of somebody getting hurt or killed or stabbed. That's what they're
which is not necessarily the concept of carnival. You know, it's all about peace and enjoying yourself.
Exactly.
You know, but there's more element to the carnival, listeners. It's not just dancing and swinging your hips. You know, there's a sacrament of it, but that's something that happens later on in the night.
No. Well, you get
it's kind of restricted. There's no public attendees. It's probably the following morning. After daybreak, then all the other drumming and masquerading and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah,
starts.
I know that you'd have the duvet. You'd have the duvet at the beginning, yeah, and at the end as well, right? When they open up the carnival and everything else, and that's where it all starts, the parade, and then from there, you got all the other parts that join into it, right? It's one of these things. It's one of these things that people just go along and they don't even know what they're going along for, right? But at the moment, it's just turned into a debacle in some ways. But it can be regained. It can be regained if people want to regain it, you know.
You know, I was even thinking earlier on, Brother Aston, you know, just going off of tandem slightly. I mean, if you look at in terms of artists, musically, you know, both West London, North London, South London, you know, from the 60s, from the group Equals, the Grant, to Hot Chocolate, Errol Brown, who died during the COVID time. He's Jamaican descent. You know, and it was hugely, they were hugely successful in the 70s. You had the guy who did Kung Fu fighting, the brother that did Carl Douglas. He's of Jamaican. Over here, you got them Osibisa in Cricklewood, you got High Tension, you got Loose End, you got Imagination. You know, South London itself has got its own fair share of music of greats. David Bowie, there was a good man. He grew up in Bromley there, Brother Aston, but he spent a lot of time around Brixton areas and things. So, you know, in terms of achievement, in terms of artists, you know, the African community have done exceptionally well, you know?
Listen, over the years, even when I go through and I try to select some music and all, that we got a lifetime of music. Lifetime. We couldn't even play all the music that has been released over the years, right? Because it's so vast. It's so vast. Anything and everything we've done. We've invented new genres of music and everything else.
And some of them were hugely successful. They made a big job, like Errol Brown with Hot Chocolate. You know, some memorable song in the 70s. You know, he died during the COVID time, about 3-4 years ago. That's right. Errol Brown was a legend. Yeah. My God.
Let me tell you something. What happened to me one time. Errol Brown. I was working in Coventry, right? And I went out one evening with somebody else, and we just went out for a meal that evening there because, like, you know, working and then, you know, expenditures and all that business. Blah, blah. Anyhow, after that, we was walking back to the hotel now, right? And we said, oh, let's just go for a couple of drinks in somewhere. So we're walking through Coventry town centre. And then we see these people, they just walked into this place and it looked like an old library type of thing, you know? But as they opened the door, I heard this music, right? I said, let's just go in there and we'll see if we can get a drink or something. And then we'll go home. Watch out now. We walked into this room and the place was heaving. It looked like they had the whole town in this room, right? And then, like, you know, we were just walking through and hearing this man singing and he's on the stage and everything. And I go, God, he's really good, isn't he? And like the man, my friend say, ain't that bloke out of Hot Chocolate? Right? And I look over and I go, it's Errol. It's Errol.
He's distinctive. You can't miss him. You know, very distinctive.
This man there was singing his heart out and everything, the band and everything behind him and all that. And I was, who would ever believe that I could just walk through a door and just see a legend on the stage like that?
Another man I want to put on the plate is Billy Ocean.
Billy Ocean,
the Trinidadian, the man from Trinidad.
I'm sure.
This is over here. So we did our fair share of it, concentrating on Black Americans itself. You know, if I did learn from us, to be honest with you, you know, the beat was over here.
I'm sure he's one of those who was working in Dagenham. You know, he was working on the line before he became famous. I'm sure he was working on the line.
Who's that?
Billy Ocean.
Yeah, well, he may have been, but he was a hugely successful artist in the 70s. You know, that man he did his fair share. Hugely. There was another lady called Maxine Nightingale.
Yes.
From Wembley area. You got Phil Ferron and Galaxy, also from Wembley. You know, dancing tight, I ain't gonna let, and all that stuff, which I'm not really into, but he was successful. You know. So you had Candidate, another group called Candidate. Your end, you got Maxi Priest. You got David Bowie. You got the wild guy, the Englishman called Ginger Baker. He was a drummer. He used to drum with Fela Kuti. Yeah, so it's a Louisian man. You know, Ginger Baker, famous drummer. Yeah, why not? So, you know, each part of London is its own fair share in terms of artists contributed heavily.
And you know, rightly as you say, we should be celebrating our excellence over the years, you know, because like it's not only the locals, but it's the up and coming artists as well, you know, right? That we should be celebrating as well, you know. So yeah, and you know, in that essence, right? That is what I like to see, and the thing is that not only the music, right? The other art forms as well, dance and like other expressions of art and things as well, you know, that we should be celebrating over that period as well, you know. Right.
You know, the fact is, but those people that I mentioned made a huge impression. Yeah, in the 70s, whether amongst the black community, the white communities. You know, that's when as you were talking about the gun, the killing, and all the confusion going around the world. I find London was a lot more peaceful, you know, more peaceful in the 70s, more peaceful. The music was good enough, you know, to keep you calm and keep you focused. And London was not as crowded as it is today. As you say, you got all types of people. You Afghanistan. You got all right. It's good to have these people, but too much melting pot can lead to disaster. Too much.
Yeah. But the fact is that imagine now, okay, even outside of a business, if you were just celebrating your culture outside your business, right? Everywhere would be a carnival, isn't it? Right? Imagine walking down your own high street, the different cultures that you would experience down there. Huh?
Well, yeah, all right, then I'll leave it there for now, Brother Aston.
Okay, all right,
you know, nice to talk to you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you for calling in, man.
All right.
Right, we're gonna get a summarization in a little while with our sister Sandra over there in sunny Jamaica. Over there. We shall return in a momento. Let me give you something. Let me see. Oh, look at this. Giving you this one here. I'm going to give you this one here.
Sitting around doing nothing. I've got nothing on my mind. And if you should stop to talk to me, say you just be wasting your time. I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm living in a world I created for myself. Living in a world I created for myself. Some folks call me a hippie. They say I've got peculiar ways. The funny clothes I'm wearing, they say I have a big disgrace. Oh no, don't bother me. I'm living in a world I created for myself. I'm living in a world I created for myself. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Once I'm living in your world, not still ashamed. Well, there was no time for love to enjoy. But in my world, there is unity and love continually. So come along and shine light. Happy. I'm living in a world I created for myself. I'm living in a world I created for myself.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Hey there. Welcome back, my sister. Right.
Greetings. Sorry,
I'm gonna have to step out early today.
Okay.
Well, not early, but on time.
On time.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I have an interview at 1:30, so I have to get to my destination and set up and be ready for that. Ready?
Okay. I've got an interview as well at 1:30, so I've got an appointment.
Ah, you see?
No, I was just having a conversation with Colonel Sterling from Moortown.
Okay. How is he? Is his health as good as?
Yeah. I know that I'd spoken to the family about this word called carcoon, and I was at Charlestown on Friday and Sunday for their annual maroon celebration. And the theme was the land, and there was a couple of segments. On the first day, they were talking about the use of technology and how we can make use of technology to tell our story. So there were different speakers speaking about technology, talking about AI, talking about what's out there currently in other people's archives that we don't own, and how we can reclaim it and or create apps that we can dial into in order to hear it from our voice, in our voice. And then the other thing Colonel Sterling was talking about was carcoon and how it was used in relation to camouflage. So the carcoon in itself can be used for food, and not many people understand or use it like that. But it's also used as the major form of camouflage that the Maroons used back in the day. So when you think about, you're thinking about the bush itself, the leaves were used as camouflage. And I know we were asking about the spelling of the word carcoon, and it is spelled CACOON.
Okay.
And Colonel Sterling and some of the others spoke about how it's used from a food source. But over the years, back in the day, current day, when we go to the celebrations, even when we were going to Charlestown celebration, the buses and the vehicles would be adorned with the carcoon, the leaves, the branches, the foliage, and it was used back in the day as
camouflage.
Camouflage, the first camouflage, the original camouflage, and the camouflage that frightened the Jeebus Creek. Suddenly think, hang on a minute, it's like that chameleon, and you did blend in. But it was a good talk. I'd need to ask permission because Colonel Sterling wasn't doing the talk; it was somebody else. Good 10-minute talk about carcoon, and the text was around astonishing ambush, African and indigenous plants known in camouflage.
That's very good. Very good, man. Yes. All right. We're getting there.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a week summer school program in Moortown Miriam Haven Youth Club, in association supporting the community. So outside of the cultural pageant, which is happening on the 6th of August, a week's worth of summer camp, which starts on the 21st and ends on the 25th. And then we'll do outside of that other outings, like to Cattlewood Village and or to the beach, and or to St. Thomas. But we were literally aiming to nail down the Colonel, because we wanted to do something cultural during that week, and we're thinking the last day of the week. And when we're thinking culture, we're thinking about the carcoon, cooking it. We're thinking about making things that attach. We're thinking about exposing the children and the young people and all the community to the drumming and all things cultural. So that was a conversation I was having with the Colonel, because I thought that it wasn't going to happen on that day, but it is going to happen on that day. And there are other things that are happening that will also bring in others to the community, whereby we can have a joyous celebration and or knowledge, transferring of knowledge.
All right. Now, this is remember at the beginning I was saying that there's something I want to speak to you about, or a suggestion. A TED-like talk from the youngsters, right? 5-10 minutes on them as Maroons and how they see their future.
Yeah, that can be done.
Yeah,
that can be done.
Out of that, we would give them a presentation from the Blacknificent family, right, along with a gift. Would that be possible?
That can be. I can organize all that, because that week I can incorporate into that week. So I'll be looking at some of the older young people rather than the ones that are doing the pageant.
Yeah,
maybe too young.
And also to record it so that we can share it with the Galaxy family.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Video preferably, but if not audio.
Yeah. No,
okay.
I'll aim to, because part of the young people coming and attending the summer camp, we've done the old health and safety protocols, and part of that does include we will be taking pictures that may be broadcasted or shared outside of. So I'll just tag that on and just establish at the early doors who would be interested and work with those young people in order to make it happen. So what I would do, I would create a simple chatbot that can interview them. So if they don't necessarily know what to say, that chatbot can help them to formulate their words. Then they can then read out.
I expect excellence from all of them. So that would be standard, man. Because I know soon as they're ready to chat, them can chat.
And it's just but sometimes you think you can do it to your friends and you can do it in amongst your friends, but when someone asks you to do it on the wider scale, you start to get the
jitters.
That fear in terms of, am I doing it right? Am I standing right? But you and your parties, your spars were making up enough noise in the corner. Now I'm just asking you to make up noise.
You are free to express it in any way that you want. No profanities though, but you're free to express it in any way that you want, and how you see your future and what you would like to see in the future.
Okay, I'll aim to do that then again on that same day, the 25th of July.
Wow. Okay.
I'll be working with the young people during that week who wish to participate and get involved.
5th of July. That's a Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're ready.
Right.
Okay. Right. Show summarization. Would you like to do that one?
So I wouldn't like to do that one because I missed the conversation that you had with the brother whilst I was speaking with the Colonel. And I feel that what was said in relation to that conversation needs to be added to the show summary.
Yeah. I'll tack it on to the end. Go ahead.
So the ancestral voices was something that you'd played the previous strong, but sometimes you hear things twice and you pick up different elements of it. But it was helping us to understand and or recognize that communication needs to happen, but communication can happen in terms of word of mouth, but it can also happen via song or in other mediums. And sometimes we adopt other people's method of aiming to find the answers. And that doesn't always work for us because we're all having different challenges and struggles and or pressures, whether you be the young man, the young woman, the mother or the father or the elder. And that ancestral voice just encourages us just to take a step back. We can still find a solution, but we just need to take a step back because someone else's roadmap may not necessarily be the best course of direction for ourselves. There was another ancestral voice, which I didn't, not ancestral voice, there was another recording whereby it was a young man who was speaking about his experiences, wanting to die, that was interesting because Almighty Creator, Mother Earth had different plans for him, and he wasn't picked up in the dumpster, but he became something whereby he was able to help and or support so many others in terms of how he lived, the restaurants and the food areas that he had, and the way that he supported the community, those who needed him, those who didn't think they needed him. And that was an interesting, so anyone who can go back and listen on YouTube, I'd strongly encourage you to do that. There was a conversation, we were speaking in terms of carnival, whether or not it's, and talking about it in general in terms of whether or not the reports that have been heard, are they true? And there was a general discussion about the changing of how carnival has changed over the decades. And are we actually missing out on the message within that? We've just had a conversation, a general conversation in terms of how young people are faring with the state of affairs that are happening in different parts of the world, and how are they being impacted, recognizing then that from my experience from Jamaica, they don't appear to be impacted in the same way, but within the UK they may be impacted, and there's a lot of posturing going on, and whether or not how we manage and navigate this time. And then we spoke in general about the education system. A lot of children going through their exams, final exams, whether they be in Jamaica, whether they be in the UK, recognizing then that they've got so many years ahead of them. And some of them will have up to 50, 60, 70 years ahead of them. Some of them will have a little bit less. But either way, the exams aren't the be all and end all. And as adults, as guardians, as elders, as seniors, we need to have those conversations with those young people. We need to encourage them, support them. They're going to be on holiday 6 weeks. Take time out in order to feed into, don't just leave them, they're on 6 weeks holiday, don't just leave them to their own devices, because what young people will do, they will go down a rabbit hole and potentially stay there all day, a couple of hours when they're looking at their device, and they don't then communicate, they don't know how to communicate on the wider context. And then the last thing, I'll leave you with the last thing, because that was a discussion that you were having with the brother.
Yes, well, what we were saying is that, another extension to the carnival conversation, right? That the gift of all the artists that we've had over the years, and just giving acknowledgement to them in the different regions of where they've been living or where they came from, right? And saying that even if they do like disband the carnival as it is there now, and they do take it up that they take the celebrations to the streets of their local areas, right? that how many celebrations of other people in those local areas could be acknowledged at that time, you know, which in essence it should be. They should be, you know, because you've made a major contribution in the UK in general, right? And throughout the world. So, you know, you might just break it up in Notting Hill and then it spreads to the rest of the world. And we're giving their acknowledgement in that way there. So we take to the streets, and we'll just have a massive roadblock for the whole weekend.
That makes me smile. That's the same way as it was the thought process of would we boycott, and how would that look? That as another alternative. And in some senses,
it feels like that in some of the places in that area.
And it does, but if we are resourceful spiritual beings, they back us into a corner, we will often find a way out that had we not been backed into the corner, we would have overlooked. So recognizing then that there are other options, there's going to be the health and safety, and you can't do and you can do and yada yada, but there are options available to us, and we just need to, as a people, recognize those options. And then the only thing I'd never highlighted was you, Brother Aston, saying that you're stopped on your way to shopping, or you're out and about and people stopping you. And I'm just encouraging them to do so, because it's beautiful to have that feed forward. It's beautiful for us to recognize that we are speaking and it resonates with our Blacknificent brothers and sisters, and they can add to the mix.
Yeah. Listen, although I may sound like I'm but in essence, and I always do, I give acknowledgement to all those who show me acknowledgement of what the works that we are doing here on the galaxy in there. And remember as well, this is a community program, so therefore without you we cannot be. Okay. So anyhow, so I'll be writing out my sponsorship forms, so all of you could come and sign it, right, and contribute, because we're looking to see how many children we can sponsor over the next season, over the next year, right, as well. So we're going for 100 to start with, right, and by 10 years time it should be 10 million, because we're just increase it 10 times. You know how you go. You know how that go.
I know how that goes. Why be afraid of the increasing?
Exactly.
Start looking up, but add a zero to it. Keep
Exactly.
that zero, and then thinking about the service that we need to do in order to make it happen.
That's what we have to do. We have to aim high, and just take everything as we go through. Right. Okay then. Listen, my sister, thank you once again for joining us on this broadcast, this strong, and all the best in your future endeavors. Right, and we shall meet again when our paths cross.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You take care. Okay. All right. Let me see what I got for you. Oh no. Take this one.
Wow. Yeah. Life is a so please humble my heart, guidance of my path, quiet in my thoughts. Oh, yeah. Light is in my shoes, reverence in my mood. Life is a heaven if I so choose it. Yeah. So give thanks every day. Give thanks every day. Oh, as I go on my way, push on my way. Yeah. Give thanks every day. Give thanks every day. Oh, as I go on my way, push on my way, yeah. And they say that people change as they go through life. They'll try to see the good even the same. Yeah. May I learn to refrain whenever I want to complain. Under the balance, there is no sunshine without the rain. So give thanks every day. Give thanks every day. Oh, as I go on my way, push on my way. I give thanks every day. Give thanks every day. Oh, as I go on my way. And when I'm inside these four walls, troubles weigh me down hard. I choose to forget that life is perfect. Oh, how could there be mistakes if I live from the pain? Life is only that which I create. Yeah. I give thanks every day. I give thanks every day. Oh, as I go on my way, push on my way. Yeah. I give thanks every day. Give thanks every day. Oh, whoa, yeah.